The most popular video game character of all time, Mario, has been on many adventures. From the old days searching castle to castle for the princess to now exploring full-on galaxies. That guy definitely deserves a vacation. And what does he get when he finally takes one? Mixed opinions. That's right, today we'll be taking a look at Super Mario Sunshine, the sort of black sheep of the Mario franchise, at least in his 3D adventures. Oh, and I did say we. Happy to bring on someone who's crazy about Nintendo's little old cube.
Hey everyone, Marcello from GameCube Galaxy here, and I want to quickly thank Jiggy for inviting me to take part in this special episode. Super Mario Sunshine is definitely a divisive installment. Heck, even I have my gripes with Sunshine. But it is a game I have a love-hate relationship with many elements being really neat. That being said, Jiggy, let's dive into this episode.
This is Defending Super Mario Sunshine. After the success of Super Mario 64, was there ever any doubt that a sequel would be on the horizon? And with the power of Nintendo's next console, that sequel was greenlit. Many concepts came and went, some even spawning other popular Nintendo titles. Until games director Yoshiaki Koizumi used the GameCube controller. When the GameCube controller was first introduced to him, he immediately felt the triggers and it reminded him of water guns. Not letting that idea go, he started experimenting with ideas of Mario using a water gun. He was reminded of all the time spent in childhood spraying with water guns and playing in the mud. Eventually, that line of thought settled on Mario using a tool to clean up the town. For the tool, they really had to dial in an idea that captured that fun, the essence of Mario, and didn't convey an adult look. They decided to further connect it with another GameCube title, Luigi's Mansion, by connecting the designer of both tools, one for each brother. With this being only Mario's second go-around into 3D, they wanted to try something different and at the same time improve on how Mario played previously, such as refining the wall jump ability. Then, deciding on a location for the game, they knew they wanted lots of large buildings for Mario to jump on and around, so that felt natural. And then they put it on a tropical island, and thus Mario Sunshine was born. The game's initial reviews were really positive, receiving 9s and above across the board. I'd be hard-pressed to say Mario Sunshine is hated, but you can say Mario Sunshine is definitely the black sheep of 3D Marios and often seen as probably one of the worst ones. Why is that though if it was so praised? Some reviewers even saying it was better than Mario 64. Let's get to the bottom of it. So I reached out to my community and got a decent mix of people saying it was either their favorite Mario game or their least favorite Mario game, with comments in between. So I've compiled a few of the most common complaints they had and then we will highlight what makes this game really shine. The first common complaint, blue coins. This is probably the top response I saw. Collecting the blue coins seems to be something most take issue with, not for the reason that they hate that the blue coins exist, but because there are so many blue coins throughout the game. There are a total of 240 blue coins, and the method for acquiring them is sort of random. For example, we all know we can acquire blue coins by erasing the graffiti on the wall. Straightforward, and you know to look for them. If you're platforming and exploring a level, you may naturally run into one. But then you have other blue coins that appear for things like spraying a specific spot, like the top of a jar or something. These could literally be anywhere and easy to miss. The game doesn't really have a clear direction on how many coins to collect or where to find them. If the game had provided some sort of guide within the game, perhaps with the trader so you could see totals within a world and know which ones you have to go back to, I think it would have been more well received. It's really more frustrating from a completionist perspective than anything else. Fundamentally, the idea isn't bad. It's just not implemented as well as it could have been. I'm no stranger to a plethora of collectibles, but I never once felt overwhelmed by it in my recent playthrough. It was a sort of, oh, another blue coin. I'll collect it. Or even a, oh, there's an X on the wall. I don't really feel like it right now. In my original playthrough back in the day, I did in fact collect them all, but I spent countless hours exploring. Somehow I never got bored with that. It should be a testament to how vibrant and fun the worlds are.
I have to agree here. The blue coins were a crippling point for trying to 100% this game. With 240 blue coins to find, and many at complete random nature without hints at times, it was challenging to keep up with which ones you've collected and which to still find. This was certainly the main factor that led to me never 100% completing this game, and while I had acquired every shine via the objectives throughout, but the blue coins were the point where I just felt the momentum was completely ruined to get 100% in my playthrough. The community is definitely not wrong on that issue.
Moving forward to the next common complaint, clunky controls. What's interesting about this take is, although there were a lot of people complaining about the controls, there were also a bunch of people saying it felt the best of any Mario game. Huh? What I noticed is the clunky controls comment seemed to stem from the levels where you are without FLUDD and have to platform to the end. And I totally see why people would hate that. These offer a fair bit of a challenge, and the physics sometimes don't feel as tight as the previous entry's Super Mario 64. But honestly, Mario's control doesn't feel bad by any means in this game. Different moves were refined, such as the wall jump and allowing Mario to spin when he jumps by a quick rotation of the stick. The reason why these particular levels give people a feeling of clunky controls is because the whole game is designed with FLUDD in mind. You're meant to be able to quickly flip up to a place and then use the water pack to make minor adjustments. It's so baked into the gameplay that when you remove it, it's not only jarring but can make Mario feel a bit wonky. In addition to the actual controls, the camera sometimes will catch some weird angles. I noticed it happens more frequently in closed off areas such as inside a building, but for those used to platformers, it's no worse or better than early 3D cameras. It's a bit smoother than Mario 64 simply due to the introduction of the C-Stick.
Here is another area I tend to feel always detracts from my overall experience with the game, and that's these segments where the FLUDD pack is stolen and you need to test your platforming skills to the max. Normally this would be no problem, especially after coming from Super Mario 64's subline movement controls. While the movement controls are responsive in Mario Sunshine, these segments are something that seem to spawn from the recesses of hell itself due to how wonky the physics can be. Whereas Super Mario 64 felt I could pull off any move and know how it's going to pan out, or that I was in full control of that move, Super Mario Sunshine's platforming feels less reliable overall. The physics and momentum can feel off, and honestly, this feels heavily due to how reliant the game is in regards to the FLUDD pack. When you have the FLUDD pack on, controls and movement are far more reliable, where you can adjust your movements a little bit more. But these platforming levels where they remove the FLUDD, yeah, these were beyond infuriating for the wrong reasons. The worst part is that every area has one of these challenges to tackle. If Nintendo had removed these segments altogether, it would have honestly made the game more memorable for the right reasons. And unfortunately, these segments always stand out above the rest, leaving a more negative tone about the game than a positive one.
Mission requirements. This is a twofold complaint. One is the general missions throughout the game. They're not all of equal quality. Sometimes it's as simple as a platform here and there, and sometimes it's ride this roller coaster and hit the targets while spinning in different directions. When the missions hit, they really hit. But when they fall flat, they really fall flat. It seems that these missions almost get worse as you hit later parts of the game, which leads to why this is a twofold negative. There isn't a huge shine requirement to finish the game, but you do have to beat episode 7 of every single level, which is a Shadow Mario chase. Once completed, then you can enter Corona Mountain and confront Bowser. This wouldn't be so bad if it was like Mario 64 and you could in theory unlock a later mission by doing something in the level you weren't supposed to do in your current mission. The game just forces you on a very linear path, which makes you feel like you have to complete that mission even if you didn't want to.
This is another aspect I fully agree with. The game detracts from the freeform style gameplay of Super Mario 64, where you can nab stars at any time within a level, despite selecting a specific mission that you're tackling to get a star from. Sunshine instead forces you to only be able to get the shrine for the mission selected, which forces you to go back to those dang FLUDD packless platforming missions, or even the pachinko machine that left many with a lot of PTSD. In many ways, it feels like a step backward from Super Mario 64 in terms of its progression system, and with how inconsistent the difficulty spikes were in this game, leaving many to never bother finishing it either.
And now with all that being said, let's talk about how the game shines. The atmosphere. The atmosphere of Mario Sunshine is one I personally love. Oftentimes in games you travel throughout many different environments and worlds. Think how in Mario 64 you go through the paintings and you can go to Cool Mountain, Hazy Maze Cave, two completely different environments. while in Sunshine, all areas are themed like the tropical island they take place on. I really feel like limiting the vision to an island resort almost gives license to be even more creative. When the sky is the limit, you aren't surprised with the next level being snowy, icy level, but when you're on a specific theme, you think, how will the next level be different? This gives us levels like Pinna Park, which is a carnival, and Sirena Beach with a haunted hotel in it. That specific vision and giving Mario some optional shades and costume really makes it feel like one big cohesive story. I love the vibes.
Delfino Island is an immensely memorable, lively world to explore without question. The vibrant tropical nature of the island is inviting, and furthermore, while each area is a tropical theme, they all feel very unique from one another. As was stated, you can go from a carnival-style location to a haunted hotel, to a marine port, to a jungle of sorts, to even the bay where you can face off against a creature deep underwater. And that's the thing, the world is all interconnected in a way, where you can actually see the other areas you'll explore from a distance, whether from the Delfino Plaza hub world to even seeing these other areas from within the levels you're exploring. The setting is one that always felt inviting, and despite the devilish nature of the game's difficulty at times, always made for a lush world to sink hours into.
Music. Let's be real here. That music lives in our heads rent-free. Koji Kondo and Shinobu Tanaka absolutely nailed it as usual. The melodies and instrumentation feel so tropical, they really captured the vibe, and simultaneously it also feels very Mario. Bianco Hills lives in my head, rent-free. Heck, I could say that with so many of these tracks.
While the music of Super Mario 64 will always be far more impactful for me personally, Sunshine's soundtrack is no slouch by any means either. The tunes here are all ones that'll stick with you and randomly pop in your head. Even after 2 decades, I still have numerous tunes randomly pop up in my mind, whether Delfino Plaza, Bianco Hills, or Ricco Harbor. The soundtrack matches the gameplay and setting perfectly.
Let's just take a listen to a few of these bangers for a few minutes. Unique gameplay. Though Mario without FLUDD may feel a little wonky, Mario with FLUDD feels special. It's completely unique. Nintendo clearly capitalizing on this concept later with Splatoon. Though it's sort of a direct flip, instead of cleaning, you're making a mess. Giving FLUDD alternative nozzles is also a really cool way to change up gameplay. I wish though you could do this on the fly and didn't need to get specific boxes. Also, adding in Yoshi is such a cool touch. Collecting fruit feels so right in a tropical setting, and him spraying fruit juice, I just can't get enough of it. Mario's refined wall jump and spin abilities make climbing tall structures fun and less tedious than the previous entry. And also allowing us to slide on water to go really fast is awesome. It makes getting around super quick if you have the skill to do it. Even just being able to repeatedly dive forward makes Mario feel fast, and I love it.
While I will always miss Mario's long jump move from Super Mario 64, his moveset in Sunshine was very much still versatile. The wall jump did feel smoother to pull off, and combining the FLUDD pack to extend the moveset, like spraying water ahead, diving forward, and sliding fast on the water surface, was very rewarding. Yoshi's return here is also one that I felt was quite natural given the game's setting, and it is such a fun inclusion overall. All the different nozzles you can acquire for the FLUDD pack really open up traversal, and while it would have been nice to be able to switch between all of them instantly, it doesn't downplay the unique nature of their uses. Again, the game works really well with the FLUDD pack, but it's when you remove it, it's clear the game wasn't designed without the FLUDD pack in mind.
Bowser Jr. Introducing a character such as Bowser Jr. is huge. We have had Koopa Kids, Koopa Kings, and Baby Bowser, but Bowser Jr. is Bowser's direct child. He has so much charm and has been a staple since then, showing up in future games and even Super Smash Bros. His lasting impression certainly isn't going away anytime soon, and his Shadow Mario form made for a good twist. I personally didn't see coming. He really drove the plot of A Simple Vacation gone wrong, and he's a great character.
Super Mario Sunshine is certainly the most divisive 3D Mario game, no question. It has its pros and cons, but there's no denying that it's still one that is talked about 2 decades later. Like Jiggy stated, it's not everyone's favorite Mario game. Heck, I run a GameCube dedicated channel, and I'll even admit it has its issues, which I briefly highlighted here as well, but it's still very much a good game that many fondly remember, for better or worse. I want to thank Jiggy again for inviting me to provide my thoughts alongside him about Super Mario Sunshine. Also, if you're a fan of the GameCube as well, be sure to check out my channel, GameCube Galaxy, for everything and anything GameCube related. I cover topic-based videos, in-depth reviews, top 10s, and more. Jiggy, thank you again. Back to you.
Link to his channel down in the description. Be sure to go drop a sub and check out his content for all your GameCube needs. Mario Sunshine may not be everyone's favorite Mario, but it certainly is a good game. Well, that's all I have for you. I hope you'll drop a like and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future uploads and spread my content around. Until next time, have a good one.
Super Mario Sunshine! Woohoo!